Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch settlers who arrived at the Cape of Good Hope on a boat in the year 1652.
Orania.
What is happening? Can somebody answer?
Section 235 of the South African Constitution acknowledges the right of cultural groups to self-determination. But what about the Afrikaner enclave of Orania, which also uses race to determine who can be allowed to live in that community?
In my whole lifetime, I never thought I would come across a town within the land of black people where blacks are not allowed to live in there. People out there believe that Orania is a racist model. Do you believe that whatever you guys are practicing here is racism?
No.
So what is it then?
It's a culture town. It's a culture town. It's an Afrikaner town. The narrative is out there that if you preserve your culture, you're racist, and that's not true.
But I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land and no one is allowed to come in. In this town, it's whites only. If I have to decode the whites only, I'm talking about Afrikaans only. So if you're a black man like me, you cannot stay there.
We say Orania is a community for Afrikaners. It's not an issue just white in, black out. It's a question of culture.
But someone might ask, if you want to preserve your culture, you're preserving your culture on a land that belongs to South Africans.
Shoot to kill, Kamaza, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer, brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention!
The Orania movement, together with the Freedom Front Plus, met with the EFF's provincial leadership. This after the EFF had vowed to push the provincial and national government to reconsider its position on the existence of Orania and that it should be discontinued. After lengthy discussions, the EFF said they did not find common ground.
The EFF is raising a profound fundamental issue that needs both black and white to speak to it, because they agree that there should be a generation that will engage and speak about their existence in order to make sure that we don't speak past each other.
The meeting ended in a stalemate. Both the EFF Plus and the Orania movement say more engagements are needed.
We didn't agree on everything, which one would have expected, but it's very good to hear the different perspective. I think we both learned from each other, and going forward we are all together in the province and in the country.
The Freedom Front Plus say they will welcome any investigation into Orania, as it will prove the Volksstaat operates without public funding.
A community is not something that you dissolve or that you stop being by a decree or something. You can do that with an organization. You can outlaw an organization, but a community is just there. And it's not really possible to dissolve it by legislation or by decree or whatever. So we could traverse a road of confrontation, or we could see how we complement each other in a post-apartheid South Africa. I could also say a post-colonial Africa, and what role Afrikaners and especially Orania has to play in that, because I think that is what's important.
Orania is a farm. It's not a town. And every time, even when you listen to people speaking about Orania in the news and how journalists report on it, they report as if they report on a town. It's a farm, a private farm. They don't have any declaration from provincial government or local municipality of a town establishment.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to become a town, they must make an application through the necessary processes. And obviously, if they want to become a town and make such an application, they will have to abide by the laws of this country and the requirements of what a town settlement should be.
Yeah.
If you've got a town settlement, you can't exclude other people. But if you've got a private farm, it's like my private home. I can decide who gets into my yard and who does not get into my yard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically the history and what is currently finding expression in Orania.
Mm-hmm. There was a time, I remember, after the elections when I interviewed the president of the Freedom Front Plus, and he said there are discussions that are underway. In fact, he claimed on this show that you have agreed as the ANC to formally recognize that enclave, Orania, as an Afrikaner town, and that was their condition to join the GNU. Whatever happened to that? Because I think when I spoke to you subsequently, you had indicated there was a proposal, I think, that they were going to send to you guys, and you were going to consider that and go back to them. Was that proposal ever sent?
No, we had engagements with leadership of the Freedom Front Plus, and there were two pieces of agreements. One was on the cooperation between the ANC and Freedom Front Plus with regard to the provincial legislature. The fact that they wanted the chairpersonship of the portfolio committee of Coxter, and quite a whole lot of issues which were raised on cooperation in terms of coming up with an initiative to grow the economy of the province.
Mm-hmm.
So that one, there were no problems with it because it was a purely political relationship that we were establishing with the Freedom Front in order to advance the best interest of the Northern Cape.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a second agreement which centers around the status of Orania. That agreement that centers around the status of Orania, we told them that it is very much difficult for us to commit on this because it's got national implications. We don't want to see replicas of Orania all over South Africa. We said it's a matter that we are going to forward to the national leadership. We forwarded it to the national leadership. The national leadership provided Freedom Front Plus with written responses on some of the difficulties they have to have the ANC, either the province or national, signing on that. So there's no signed agreement between us and Freedom Front Plus, but what we had is intense discussions on quite a number of issues, cooperation in the legislature, and the issue of the status of Orania.
Orania has never been the problem for the past 8 years. Why now? Let me give you the reason why. Black people are so jealous. Not all of them, but they're the same black people who are making a lot of noise here. They have either failed in delivering. They were in government, the likes of Julius Malema, the likes of Mzwane Lemani, they were in government, they failed, they are scared of a competition. So their mission is just to destroy, and to destroy. I don't understand. It doesn't really make sense to me why Orania, why Clairefontaine is a problem now, but it has never been a problem before. I think these two political parties are running cheap politics, are making Afrikaners as an excuse. It's the same as our sitting president standing up and blaming apartheid 30 years after they are running this administration. That is totally unacceptable.
We are constantly confronted with racialist perspective on our existence and on South Africa as such. While that is not our perspective at all, we are confronted with the expectation that we break off from South Africa, that we are in some kind of isolation, a so-called state within a state, which is just not factually the case. In fact, we do interact with not only government organs, but also with many other communities who may share interests. We interact in many ways, but we do it on the footing of self-sufficiency and the pursuance of self-determination, which is part of what the present constitution affords us to do. We are not a political party. We do not march for our existence. We do not depend on the attention of media. We are a community of living people, of mothers and children and schools and roads and jobs and businesses and power generators. And, this is home. We don't march and then go home.
If you'd allow me just to interrupt you there, Dr. Boshoff, you speak about that, there's the perception around breaking off and being in isolation, that you're a state within a state, which is not factually correct. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, because my understanding is that some community leaders from Orania visited the US seeking recognition as an autonomous entity through the help of President Donald Trump. Is that factual? Did you meet with the president? Was that your aim? I mean, because it feels like a contradiction, saying it's not factually correct. Perhaps it could still be your aim.
The President of the United States of America referred to Afrikaners as a priority population in terms of his scheme of things. And we have an approach that says not about us without us. If people talk about Afrikaners, if they talk about our future or our position in the world, it's not to be done without us. We did not engage with the president as such. Our representatives have engaged with people that informs policy and explicate policy. And we do want more investment, more interest, more autonomy, to call that, because there are many autonomous institutions within a country like South Africa. Provinces are relatively autonomous. Municipalities are relatively autonomous. There's nothing wrong with Orania being autonomous within a bigger setup. But as a community, we do not need or seek permission to exist. And it's not for the EFF or any other government to tell this community it may not exist or they don't like our existence. That's just not how it works. It doesn't work for any community in South Africa on that basis. Go tell the Zulus they may not exist. They may not have a kingdom. They may not have land. There's not such a thing. So that's not part of the discussion. The discussion of how we coexist, how we engage, what we discuss with each other, that is something that may take us forward if we really apply our minds to that.
Yeah, the difference is that telling the Zulus what you've just said, myself as a Xitsonga speaking woman, I am allowed to be in KZN. I am allowed to interact with the Zulus and be with them as a Xitsonga woman. Would I be allowed in Orania?
Well, that's true. You will be allowed in Orania, and please come and visit us, as you may go anywhere in South Africa. We would be glad to have you here and have you see what things are really happening. It's not true that we resisted majority rule in South Africa. In fact, we engaged with the whole process of transition in South Africa even before 91, even before the formal processes were taking place. We were engaging with the present EFF leadership even before the Northern Cape leadership were even involved. So really, there's no matter about involvement. There's no matter about our returning to some past which we have left behind us, and to which our existence and our ways of living are a true answer. The question is with which categories you view it, and if you still cling to the old racist categories as the EFF is doing, you will not see what is before your eyes.
What we want, we already got to an extent. We want recognition. We want recognition from abroad, we want recognition locally, and we want recognition from our peers. That is to say, firstly, those people are a people upon themselves, and this, they have the right to make certain decisions for themselves. That is what we want. We don't want people's money. We don't want people's handouts. We as Orania want larger recognition, greater recognition. And I think that is not too much to ask.